We are on the Rhine River, north of Bacharach, headed towards St. Goar. It's very chilly out here. The wind chills are freezing. Granddad's down below getting warm.
Steinernes Schiff mitten im Strom, die Pfalz. Sie ist die einzige Burg in ihrer Art und war früher Zollstation. Am rechten Ufer von der Burg Gutenfeld.
This is the only castle of its type, and was the customs station at one time. In 1814, General Field Marshal Blücher and his army crossed the Rhine in Kaul. You can find out more about this at a museum located in the town. 前の川の中心に一隻の堅固な石の船のように発集があります。それは唯一この風格の城塞ですが、以前に税関検査所でした。右岸にウータ
Alright, we're recording.
When I come in, going on, all I remember this is open.
Start over. It's alright, here we go.
What I remember about this is it's all open, and I don't remember any houses being out in here. But we were just at the edge of houses when I came to it. And we had got like a creek bed we were in on the west part of it, and the houses were about a block or two to the east.
Here we go. We're rolling.
All right. When I came in this place, it was, as far as I'm concerned, I remember it, nothing but trees and grass and dirt roads. And we were at the edge of it. And there was a little creek bed we had in, had some trees around it. And we got pinned down with ack-ack. And
tell me what that is.
Ack-ack is a high explosive shell. What we had that day that would explode on contact, and they'd fire into trees. We were under some a little row of little hedgerow, and the shrapnel was cutting us to pieces. And we lost a man there. And when we advanced a little further off, I got out above that fire for a while. We were being fired on. We thought about a 40 millimeter ack-ack, what we thought it was. And we tried to flank them. And our men were pinned down there, and we got one shot. Wasn't long, we had another one shot. And but finally, we called for tanks to come up the far end of that thing. And by the time the tank got there, they'd pulled out. And all we had to do was just kind of get ourselves together and move on. And the tanks hung around a little while, and we moved out. And went on through Geisbach, and we came back. I think and camped that night around the town there.
You mean Waldorf you're talking?
I mean Waldorf, yeah. Waldorf, yeah.
And tell us, the fight was on the west side of Waldorf, is that right?
Yeah, it's on the west side.
And here we are, we're on the west side of
We're on
Waldorf,
the west side here, I think.
which is northwest of Bonn.
Yeah.
And however, this
Then,
used to be all just trees and fields when you were here, right?
This is all this open country. It's best I remember. I don't remember any houses being on the west side of the town itself. And the town wasn't very big, and I don't remember being a blacktop road there then. It could have been, but when we come in, it wasn't. It was a dirt road. Just plain dirt road. Yeah, I wonder what that is. That looks like rhubarb. Does that look like rhubarb to you? You know what rhubarb is?
I have no idea.
Well, I don't really know much about it either, but it's a red stalk-like plant.
Now tell us, there was a Y out west of Waldorf, right?
Now there's a Y out there. But it was a lot of trees around that. It was pretty trees, lots of trees. There's lots of trees in there. Where we camped out the night before, was on Y, and we covered it both directions. Had tanks and machine guns and so forth. They expected a counterattack, but it didn't come. So, but it rained all night long. We dug holes there, they shelled us, they threw artillery in there. We dug holes, they got full of water, and we'd jump in them, and it was pretty cold. It wasn't freezing, but it was all cold.
And this would have been...
about 4 o'clock we pulled out, before daylight.
And you headed east, is that right?
No, we headed back to where we came from. Then we jumped off that afternoon to come into Waldorf later on that day. And that was on the 7th of March when it was.
1945.
45, yeah. And that's the same day that the Remagen Bridge got blowed. We was a few miles from it.
And tell me what you remember about the Remagen Bridge.
I don't remember much anything about the Remagen Bridge. We just heard about it. That's about what you hear now.
That there was a bridge across the Rhine that had not been blown?
The bridge across the Rhine hadn't been blown, and neither the bridge at Bonn hadn't been blown either. We thought we'd get across that a couple of days later, but it got blown. We didn't get it done.
So you headed from Waldorf towards Bonn just a few days later?
Yeah, we went to Bonn, yeah. Then we had to cross it on the pontoon. Well, we crossed it on a few days later. I don't remember how many days later it was. But they took all the military rigs up in this area had to cross that pontoon bridge. For days, I guess, they shoved stuff across it.
Okay, so here we are in Waldorf, west of Bonn.
Waldorf now. We were looking at cabbage patch now. Look like cabbage patch, rhubarb, or whatever that is. I'd get a stalk if I wasn't stealing.
It's a nice, crisp fall morning here.
About 45 degrees, probably. Yeah. Traffic's thick, and got new streets.
We ate at a McDonald's this morning.
Yeah, good McDonald's.
Only place we could find bacon and eggs was at McDonald's.
These people don't eat eggs over here. They grow them but don't eat them. I don't know what to do with them.
All right, so now we're going to head towards Soven and Geisbach.
Soven and Geisbach, yeah.
All right. 3.
Well, we came up from the south.
Well, tell us where we're at.
We're at Soven, right east of Soven.
That's the town of Soven.
There's Soven. We came up the south, and we had the tanks with us, and we parked in the Sovens were hit by our own aircraft that evening. A guy threw out the wrong kind of smoke bomb, and we had 3 P-47s bombed us. They had 3 bombs apiece. They dropped them all at 1 bomb at a turn, and machine guns to come in.
And that was in Soven, or?
That was in Soven, and they knocked down the wall of a building there on one guy and killed him. And the tanks got missed. They did get hit by the bombs, and the tank commander about 3 hours later was in the top of one of them barns there, which is not there now, and he got shot and killed by a sniper. And so we stayed there that night, and the next day we started towards Copen, which is northeast. You can't see it from here, right over this hill. And when we got inside of Copen, that's when we run into the tank that had retreated down to there. And those trees probably right there. And we had a tank battle right on top of this hill. And we was there for a good long while. And I know the 88s would hit our tanks and they'd rock them, but they's looking at them and they never did knock them out. And our tanks, I know, knocked out a couple that had turned to leave. They began to get out of there and went on down towards Soven. I meant towards Geisbach. And
let's walk out here a little bit.
But out here is where we went across the field.
Now, tell me, did you get a new tank commander, or?
We got a new tank commander that night. Yeah.
After the one that was
That's
shot
the one
by?
got killed. Next day, there's a brand new guy had never had seen any combat come in that night.
So your platoon was on this hill
We
here.
was right on. We crossed this hill right here, and the second platoon went down in this little creek-like thing over here, and that's where the platoon commander got killed that day. During daytime. Afternoon.
Their platoon commander.
Their platoon commander got shot, yeah. And I got 2 men shot down here at the bottom of this hill. This is the hill I didn't want to cross. That the company commander.
Was it bare just like this?
Yeah, there wasn't anything growing on it. It's plowed, in fact. Then. It's steeper than I thought it was. I didn't remember it being that. I didn't remember it was steeping off like that. But I knew it rolled to the east. We went down the hill, and when we got down to this little town.
Now, where did you do the combat night patrol?
Right here. I went across this. I went from Soven to Copen.
Kumpel?
And then also to Geisbach. So we had one. We took one to Geisbach also. The next night.
Well, tell us about those.
Well, on the one that we took to Geisbach, we shot off from Copen, and we
Kumpel, right?
Kumpel, and we took the a combat patrol there, and we met another set of soldiers from the German army, but we didn't fight. We let them go on by us. They'd go enough to check us out, I guess, and we'd go and check them out. I was trying to find out the bridge down there across, what I want to do, so tanks could cross. And there wasn't one there. There wasn't any bridge. That had been shot up. But there's the creek. I suppose that bridge went right on down and went across up there. I don't remember the creek we had south of us, but I guess it had to be. There it is.
So there was a big fight right here on this hill?
Right on this hill, a tank battle. That's what it was, yeah. And we won.
Where were you in relation to the tanks?
Out in front of them. I treated the tanks as far over us. The two tanks. Their tanks and our tanks far across each other, over us. So we were in the dirt, where we were.
This is during the daylight?
Daylight, yeah, about the middle of the evening when it was. Pretty close.
And did you go on into Kumpel that night?
Yeah, we went on in that evening, yeah. And we stayed there that night and shot into Geisbach the next day. We left Geisbach before Geisbach the next morning about 4 o'clock, so we get there about daylight. We got in there about daylight, down in Geisbach. This is more rolling than I really remember it being. I thought it was a little flatter than this.
But it does remind you of it.
Oh well, Geisbach's down low. I knew it was.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember coping. I thought it was a little more level there than that. But it's the way you see it, there it is. That's it. The whole country's a little more rough than I thought it was. I don't remember it being that much. But the next day after we left Geisbach, we went east, and the Germans was over in another little valley over on that side, and I remember the machine gun fire being back and forth on that. And, but they finally left out of Geisbach after they got tanks. They lost some tanks there, and we did not, because we didn't have any tanks in that. That's when we had the artillery come in on us. We called the artillery on Geisbach. Lots. I don't remember this creek going that way either, as far as that goes. I knew this one had to come in. There's one down here come in.
Now, a separate company or a separate platoon went north towards that other creek?
Yeah, the second platoon's over there. This is the second platoon. That's the one that lost his leader.
They got shot up pretty good, is that right?
Well, they had a pretty good little fight down there. I don't remember how many of them got wounded or anything, but I know the lieutenant got knocked out. And we didn't see him anymore. That's the headline. Had a buck sergeant named, let's see, I forgot his name. Thought I could remember, but I don't.
Where was your company commander during this time?
He's behind me. I don't know where he was. He might still been in Soven. Probably still in Soven. He wasn't with me. He might have been with second platoon. I don't remember about that. Probably was with second platoon. Behind him, was somewhere close. But he wasn't with me. But he did come into Copen as we got there. He was there. I know that. But we stayed there that night. And I want to go back down there again, coming in from this way.
Okay, you want to head down to?
I want to go back down there to Copen there. But that boy, tank commander got shot out right up in here. There was a barn there, sitting there somewhere.
Where was the sniper?
Well, he's in that town somewhere. I don't know where he was. Nobody knew, I don't suppose. Probably never did know. He's the guy that fell behind, stayed behind, and he killed him a man.
Did you know the tank commander?
Oh, yeah, we knew him. Yeah. It had to be this hill, cause there's the little creek that the other platoon went down. Low place down through there. Oh, on the other side of the hill.
Okay. You want to head down to Kumpel?
Yeah. Let's go back down there to Copa, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let's go back down there.
All right.
It's plowed up pretty nice here now. This was rough when we went down it. But it bombed. There's craters there. We got in some of the craters when we got down on the ground trying to get away from that tank fire.
What kind? Was it artillery or tank fire?
No, the craters we were getting into is where there had been some bombs dropped.
By airplanes?
Yeah, had big old craters. Yeah, had to be.
Right here on this hill?
Yeah, right on this hill. I don't know why they're there, but they were. They might have been shooting at some tanks earlier, day before something. I don't know. Might have been dropping some bombs at them, shooting at them. But there's craters all out through this thing. Yep.
All right, let's head to Kumpel.
Let's go.
All right. All right. So here we are on the south side of Soven, right?
Here's the hill we came up. This was a dirt road. And the tanks followed us up this road as we come in.
You're headed kind of uphill.
Kind of uphill. And they got right out here where those horses are. See those horses? They were right out on that hill there when they got bombed.
Tanks were?
The tanks were, yeah.
And that was the following day or the same day?
That same day. The same day we come in here, the day they got bombed.
By our own
airplanes.
Okay.
And they intended to have a tank battle here, but the tank pulled on out down to that Kumpel. The German tank moved out. They didn't have any fight with them until the next day. But that evening when the planes was trying to bomb them German planes, and they bombed the wrong tanks. And but did hit any of them. They missed them all. And we were in the town. My platoon was in the town.
Did you stay a night in Soven?
Let's see, did I stay a night in Soven? Yes, we stayed down
there. The night that your tank commander got killed?
The night he got killed, we stayed in Soven.
Where did you stay?
Where?
Yeah.
I don't know. We slept around in them old barns somewhere. Yeah.
Where were the townspeople at that time?
I didn't see any. I don't know.
They'd left.
I didn't see any. I didn't see a soul out there. I saw some people in Geisbach, but I didn't see people in Kumpel.
Or Soven.
I meant Geisbach. I didn't see any. I did not see any in Soven. I saw some in Geisbach, but not in Kumpel either. I don't know if there was any troops to my right at that time. I don't remember being anybody there. If there were, I didn't know it. We came up from here, from the Bonn Bridge. That's where we come. We were coming here to get the line of resistance. That's where it was then. And,
you guys were on the front.
We were on the front. We were in the front. Yeah, we was right on the front. Yeah, it was all of it. Mm-hmm. But there was houses. There were some houses along here. This thing's about like it was, about the same size. It wasn't nothing in. I don't remember the towns there. Well, we went east, left east. I know that, and I don't know how far east we went. Don't remember. We didn't hit anything real quick. I know.
Well, let's walk down here, down the hill just a little bit. I'm ready.
All right, we came in this hill after we had walked a mile after we crossed the there at Bonn. But I remember coming up this hill because we knew we were going to have a fight up here. And we did not have any between here and the river.
How did you know that you're going to have a fight?
Well, the information.
Yeah.
We got information. Might have been from air or whatever. They told us we were going to have the tank. The tank was up here, and they weren't retreating. They were staying. Up the hill, we had the tanks with us. Had the Sherman tanks. Had 5 of them. And we got in here late evening, 5, 6 o'clock really. And that evening late, when the old boy got shot up here. After the fight was over. Bombing was gone, and the tanks had forgot about being hit. The German tanks had retreated down to this Kumpel.
Well, tell me that following day, after you came up this hill, the following day, that evening, the tank commander got shot, and you got a new tank commander the next day?
That night, yeah.
And tell me, if I remember right, you had a conversation with him before the tank battle.
Yeah, I did.
Well, tell me what you told him, if you remember.
I do remember. I said, you mind me. I said, you do what I tell you. And if you get fired on, which you will, said you keep your tanks turned to the firing. Do not turn your side, because you do, you're gone. And he took his tanks out, kept them out abreast. He had 5 tanks. He had four tanks plus a commander tank. And he did exactly what I told him to do. And he came out all right. So he fought the tanks, fought back and forth. And he knocked out, I know he knocked out 2 tanks, and he might have damaged another 2, because we went that night and found the 2 tanks. But the old boys had left the radios on. The crowd had left the radios on, and we could hear them at night. And went out there and browsed around in them, see what was there. And but
Did people die in those
there
tanks?
wasn't anybody in them. No, they crawled out. They didn't burn, but they knocked them out. He shot them in the motor. When they turned around, he shot them in the back end. But they left and went on toward Geisbach. They went to Geisbach then, the rest of them. And they there again the next day. The rest of the tanks were. There's about 4, 5, 6 tanks in the deal. They knew there was going to be a pretty good little shot of it, the fight. I think we had them tanks. We had them with us. They came right up this road with us.
What time of day was that, the fight there on that hill that we were at
4
earlier?
o'clock probably.
In the afternoon?
In the afternoon, yeah. It wasn't long before dark, not a long time. I talked to the Air Corps boys that I'm pretty sure was doing that flying in the last year or 2, and they came up to using a little airport right west of Bonn that had been vacated by the Germans, and they was operating out of that. And he said he remembered doing a lot of shelling over in here, you know, in the next few days after we crossed Bonn, across the Rhine River. He was probably in the same boat.
Now those American planes were intending to do what? Bomb German?
They intended to support us. Let's support the infantry. And probably the planes that were doing that did a whole lot to say. They did do a whole lot to save the breakthrough. They're trying to break through here. What they're trying to do, get back over that river. And they thought they might kick us back across the Rhine. I suppose we didn't have many troops across. Couldn't get across fast enough. But our bridgehead was very small here. And you can read about it in history. You talk about the Rhine bridgehead. That's what that was. And we was trying to expand it. Our troops were, and they're trying to kick us off. And they had they used a pretty good effort at that, you know, trying to.
So, what kind of fighting was there the day that you came into Soven, when you came up this hill?
We didn't have any. There wasn't any fighting. We did far shot from the river to here.
So the airplanes were the next day?
Next day, that's right. Or maybe the next day. It could have been 3 days after each. I don't know how many days exactly, but it's been a while. We couldn't get that far in 1 day, you know. It'd be too hard. It's your change here now. This was all pretty well vacant then, kind of a pasture-like type thing. Some clouds around probably, but it wasn't like this. They put a bunch of orchards here and trees and so forth that's young. This, of course, this is all new here.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's head down to Kumpel.
Let's go. All right. This barn, I think it's this barn here is where the tank commander got shot, right there. And he was looking out of the loft of that barn down at the tanks on the other side. See if he can see them down there somewhere. See, there's our little town right down there. He can see that. And that's where the tanks were in that thing. And we pulled out
Granddad.
right across the top of the hill.
Okay. So he could see the...
He can see where his tank's supposed to be, out of that loft. And had a binocular with him. And, that's what, 1/4 mile?
Probably 1/4 to 1/2.
A little over 1/4 probably, yeah.
And then down here, down this hill, is where the other company...
The
platoon.
Second platoon and the first platoon went down that, but the second platoon was leading. And he went down that little creek down through there. And he's going to come in. He came in down at this next little village that night, that evening. It wasn't a very long shot. The only thing it took a while for this tank battle to get over with. We tied down there a good while before we moved into the town. that town hadn't changed a lot down there. It's just a little old village. The buildings have changed. The one on the left is about where the dairy was. Had dairy cows in that. And the Krauts had a bunch of people down in here, I know, because they fought the 2nd Platoon down here, coming in from the north. There's some guys come up there coming into this town, and we confronted them down there ourselves. And but the infantry wasn't any tanks or anything with them. The tanks done pulled out and went on down to Geisbach, over the hill. That's where they'd gone to.
All right, so we're gonna get in the car and head to company.
Clear, pretty day that day. It was just sun shining pretty. Wasn't a cloud inside, I don't think.
This is an old dirt road then, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if there's a much of a traveled road here. It might have been a wagon road, kind of. I don't even remember the road, really. We didn't get in the road. We were out in the field. We went down the field. Just a little further over here than that, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And could have been about where the road is, possibly. Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
We're ready.
All right, the barn down here on the left, the building on the left, that had to be the old man's barn right there. It come up the hill where the barns were. And he had milk cows in that thing. And this barn over here had to be the one, probably the barn on the left or the one on the right, which is about 50 yards apart. Had to be one of them, whichever one. I believe the one on the left, where the tall tree is where it is. It's where the tank commander was. And
so you spent a night.
We spent a night there. That place, yeah. And
tell me about the boys milking the cows.
well, all I know is the old man, them people, it was gone. I don't know where they were. I didn't see anybody there. But they had the cows in the stanchion. He'd put the cows in the stanchion that day and left them in the barn.
You know what kind of cows they were?
Yeah, that's kind of red-looking, brown-looking cows. They weren't Holsteins, I don't think. But anyhow, they bagged up real big. Probably hadn't been milked even that morning the way it looked. And the boys milked them out that night. They had a bunch of cans around there full of milk. I don't know what's done with it. But
So they went back and milked the cows.
they milked the cows, yeah. We never did see civilians there at all. I never saw a civilian there. Not one.
But the boys went back and milked the cows after they got done with the fight.
Actually, everybody cleared out and left. They were some on the line, I'm sure.
And then we can kind of see that creek area that the other platoon was in.
Here's platoon. Platoon went down like this. The other platoon went down right there.
And tell us about the story between you and the company commander regarding who was going to go up on the hill and who was going to go down.
Well, we was back there at that barn back before we ever started, and he told me, he said, "You got to go over the hill. I'm going to send the 2nd Platoon down this barn." And I said, "Well," said, you know what we're going to get into on that hill? We're going to get shot." I said, "We're going to have a tank battle, and you know it." I said, why are you going to send me over the hill?" He said, "Well, that's where he's going." And he said, "He's going over there." And I said, "Okay, we'll go." So we lined up the tanks and went. That's the way it was.
And then
he got killed and I didn't.
Yeah, the platoon commander got killed and you didn't.
That's right. However, I did lose some men. I lost 2 men though. But I knew it was one in there. You can't go in a deal like that and not get shot.
Do you remember which 2 men it was?
No. I know one thing is they had a buddy from down where they come from in that platoon. He went out there that night and got all his personal belongings off and sent it home instead of leaving them on them.
What do you do with the bodies in a situation like that?
They just stayed there. They notified the people that pick them up, come get them. That's all we know. We leave dog tags, but the other stuff, the buddies took them off and sent them home to them. But they came to the same place. Same area. They knew each other real well. Good friends.
How many were in your platoon out here fighting on this hill?
About 25. Don't remember exactly. I never was at full strength. They lose them too fast. Down here, well, I'll tell you a little more about it, 12 of it. Down at Geisbach, the first platoon, they bailed out that day. They gonna come back up here, and they got in all kinds of trouble down there and got shot up pretty bad. You on now?
Yeah. The first platoon, not second
First
platoon.
platoon, yeah. First platoon, yeah.
When do you want to talk about that? When we go down there?
Oh, if you want to.
All right, let's head down there. Geisbach. Talk about Geisbach.
All right. We came into Geisbach on about the 24th of March from south and west. And the only thing I remember being here was on the west side of the street was one row of houses and barns. And on the east side, on the side of the hill, 2 or 3 rows of houses possibly. And that's all. And it didn't go for about 3 or 4 blocks long at the most. And it came in from the south on a dirt road. And that's how we came into the place from over towards Soven. And we stayed there all day. We got artillery, our own artillery and the German artillery. And the houses were damaged to blown up and destroyed. And we left here and went to the east the next day, stayed all night in Geisbach, and we thought that there was there wasn't any civilians there much. They had left or had moved after that night, and we didn't see very many. And it's a very small town, and now it's a pretty good-sized little city. Lots of people.
Well, tell me about getting down in the cellars and artillery and all that.
The artillery came on us. We called it in on ourselves because we were getting counterattacked by the Germans from the hill on the east. And they had tanks in there. We had tanks in there. Oh, we had no tanks in there till after dinner. And we called the artillery on ourselves to protect ourselves. But we just got in the cellars or got in the holes all we could and radioed for them to send it in. And they sent it in. They had a lot of it. They tore that town up pretty bad. But it helped us with the Air Forces coming in, repel, they attacked, and they retreated in the late afternoon and left with what forces they had. And that was the end of that day.
Tell me about...
And the company commander, Charles Wirt, he told me he thought he could walk from one end of town to the other on a dead man. But he probably couldn't have done that, but it's close. There's a lot of people killed there. And 99% of them were Germans. We didn't lose many men there ourselves. We got in the holes, and they didn't get in the holes fast enough. And there's a lot of people killed there. And I had 2 men captured there in my platoon. And we saw them again about a week later, recaptured them. And the first platoon of our company, of F Company, give up, took off, run across the pasture, and they was commanded by a sergeant. And he was new at it, and he didn't stay long enough, or maybe he stayed too long. But anyhow, he got shot at and got killed a bunch on the way out. The history book says we got 50 some odd killed that day, missing and killed. So that's
that was the first platoon.
It's the first platoon mainly.
And they're kind of out west of Geisbach.
They were west. That's where they were. And we were in the town all the time. I never did leave the town. Second platoon never did leave the town. But we stayed there till the thing was over. And we marched out the next day going east.
Now, you received an award for what happened in Geisbach. Tell us about that.
Well, I received an award for the leadership. They called it gallantry. I don't know what I called it. It was something else. But we did stay put. We hung in there with the remains of the 2nd Platoon and repelled the attack, and with the help of the artillery and Air Force was our main help. We had no tanks, but we did have German tanks in town, and we counteracted with bazookas. We knocked out some tanks with them, and only men I lost that day was 2 that was captured. We had house-to-house fighting, what it was. And, it was a pretty bad day. And, it's a pretty day. It's clear. It's like today. When they keep the airplanes from rolling, artillery's done good, and they put it right on us. But I think this is all new here, where we're standing. In fact, I know it is. They're building a house there right now.
There wasn't much left after the war.
Not much left. They tore up pretty bad. Yeah, it was. It hurt pretty bad. A lot of houses had the roofs knocked off of them, a lot of them burnt, and they tore up real bad. Artillery worked it over, and the Air Force did too.
Where is it that you received your Purple Heart?
Prior to, no, it's after that. I don't remember the town even. It's in the record, I guess, but I don't remember the town. It was some weeks after that. Artillery came in the room with us. One of my squads was with me, cleaning rifles. We'd been up all night and a day or two before, and we had some civilians come in, and we felt like they were locating us and directing the fire, and we had artillery come right in the house with us, and then knocked me out and busted the eardrum and hurt my neck and back pretty good, and but we
then you came to at some point.
We survived. Oh yeah, they dug me down the cellar, and I come to in the cellar of that house. Anyway, I come to. I got all right to a degree. Nearly go back to the hospital. Didn't do that. I don't remember the town then. A little old village, all it was. We got artillery in it quite a bit. And got hurt.
Take off your glasses.
Boy, it's a sunshiny day, isn't it?
It was a nice day.
Yeah, my eyes.
You picked it nice.
Yeah, picked a good one. Yeah.
All right.
This is the worst day I ever had in this town. It started in the morning at 4 o'clock. That's when I patrolled into Geisbach. And quickly got back in, we eat breakfast and jumped off to come back and bring the whole company back, which we did. And we stayed there all day till night in bad combat. Close combat, hand to hand, some of it. And some people lost their lives in this little spot. Oh boy, they're getting after that, ain't they? Building a new house.
All right, anything else?
Not all of us to it.
All right.
There's one thing that's kind of interesting about that spot. There was a German nurse helping us doctor up some of our boys, and the Germans come in the house there where they were and shot the nurse because she'd helped them in the GIs. And that wasn't in my platoon. I wasn't first hand, but they told me about it. It was on the south end of town, which is about a block away, block and a half away. That was me. But, that's kind of, they didn't like because she's helping us. But she was doing us good.
Where did your medic get shot?
He got shot in the Harsh Mountains.
Okay.
Is in very much tree area, somewhat later than this. And I had lost one other medic before. hit that one, some between here and the Harts Mountains. He got wounded, and but the last medic I had got shot. He got shot in the Harts Mountains. I know about where that was. The reason he got shot where a bunch of men were getting ready to get captured, and they did get captured, and that's when they shot him. Shot him in the groin. They didn't kill him, but he was hurt bad. It was on purpose. They knew he was a medic.
Where did Johns use his grease gun at?
Down in Geisbach.
Tell me about that.
Well, there's a tank come in there, and he crossed the street over to the side we was in, and he was sitting there in the barn that we was in. We was in kind of a barn, and I come out the south side of that thing, and I knew there was a tank around there, and I got to where I could see him, and Johns was with me, and he just started pumping shells right into that barn, just shooting them direct, just 8-10 feet away. But after he'd fired a couple in there, he opened his chariot up and looked outside. And when he did, John peeped around the corner and opened up with his machine gun. He had a little grease gun he carried with him. He opened that old boy fell down and back down the tank. But the tank started backing off, and he backed right back up that hill. And I don't know what happened to that guy.
Describe, what is a grease gun?
A grease gun looks like a grease gun, but it's got a barrel sticking outside. It shoots a .45 caliber. And it doesn't even look like a gun really much, but it's a poor weapon. But that's what he carried all the time, because he liked that .45. But he probably got rid of a tank commander, a German tank commander. But we had nothing to knock a tank out with.
When did the tanks finally come?
Well, he come during the day, at afternoon time when we was just in a quandary. We couldn't leave, we couldn't go anywhere, and we were stuck. Stuck with it. And along about then is when we called the artillery on us. We told them to give us all they had. Just bring it on town.
Where was the artillery located? Out west of town?
Back west somewhere. I don't know where they're located. They could have been 4 miles back or 2 miles back. But they laid right in that town.
What kind of artillery was it?
Oh, 155 and 105s. Yeah.
And they could be pretty accurate.
They can be real accurate. They can put in your pocket if that's where you want it. Well, you give them about 3 rounds, they can put it in your pocket. They're experts. That's all there was to it.
Were they attached to your company? How did that work?
They was probably regimental artillery and division artillery. Yeah. Division had some 155, that's 105, I think, and the regiment had 105s. And the battalion don't have any of that stuff. All we got mortars. And the mortars were coming in also, I'm sure, but they wasn't as effective as that artillery. That big stuff was better for us.
Okay.
If we hadn't been in holes, we'd got just what the Krauts got.
You knew to get in the hole and they didn't?
That's right. I was there when Captain Wirt called in the command to send it in. He told them to send all they had.
Were you with Wirt, hunkered down?
We was in a cellar or some sort. I forget what it was, but we was down. Yeah. But we had a pretty good radio, and we got back to Battalion and told them to send it all.
All right.
That's it.
That's Geisbach.
And about a minute or two later, it come. It wasn't long. Well, and they throwed it in there for a long time. I don't know how long.
At what point did you know that the artillery was stopped and it was okay to come out? You radioed in?
I don't know how we did, but I guess we hollered and told them to quit. It looked like it's time to come out of the hole, you know. I don't know exactly how long that lasted. It lasted a long time, though. It's a good while. It's long enough.
All right.
Yeah.
You need a toilet. Yeah. Then gehen Sie mal bitte gleich. Rechts in die Ecke. Über den Schulter.
Here we are in Nuremberg, on the north end of the old town. Most all of this you see is pretty new construction. It was bombed during the war. About 90 to 95% was destroyed. Part of the new construction is the angle of the roof all had to be the same according to the master architect who rebuilt Nuremberg, and the stories could only there could only be 4 stories. Here we are at Dachau, which is northwest of Munich a few miles, and we just went through the museum, which is located in that building. So, Granddad, why don't you tell us what you remember about the camp you liberated?
Well, the camp I liberated, we helped. It wasn't this good a barracks. This, of course, it's been reconstructed. It was a kind of a tar paper thing with wood on the tar paper, wooden floor, wooden beds, similar to what they got built in there. And the ones we came to, about a dozen probably of them had been burnt, and a lot of the people were still laying in the beds where they were. And there was one particularly I know that was still wasn't burnt, and there's some prisoners still in it, and they were too weak and they lost all their power. They couldn't get out of their beds. But one guy had a tin can, about a number 2 can, with water in it and a potato, had a fire built on a piece of tin, and he was trying to cook that potato. And there was a pile of dead people out there in front of it, probably filled a half a semi-load, just stacked up like wood. And that's about all I remember about the thing. We was